In the world of high-stake performance and leadership, brain fog is a signal. When you walk into a boardroom or a client meeting and you struggle to find nuance, or when you stare at a strategy deck for hours and barely move the needle, this is something called cognitive drag. It's essentially the invisible friction that shows up when your internal system is overloaded. Is a mental equivalent of driving with both feet on the gas pedal and the brake at the same time. Most high achievers respond by pushing harder with more caffeine, nootropics, and different ways to optimize to be able to produce more. But you can't overclock a system that's already conserving energy. So today, instead of forcing focus, we're going to audit the architecture of your clarity to help you understand what your system is actually responding to. Welcome to the Wealthy Life podcast, the space where high performers rebuild the internal operating system behind their success. I'm your host, Deanna. Each week, we explore the nervous system, biology, identity, emotional patterns, and capacity that help you shift out of survival mode and into grounded, coherent, sustainable performance. Let's begin. Before we talk about the solutions, we need to identify the source. Brain fog doesn't just come from one place. It tends to fall into three categories, and knowing which one you're in changes how you approach the problem. The first one, biological baseline, identifying your metabolic mismatch. If your brain fog is persistent, meaning it follows you on vacation, shows up after 9 hours of sleep, and it doesn't respond to caffeine, your system might be dealing with a metabolic mismatch. It is biochemical. Your brain depends on precise signaling. Deficiencies in nutrients like vitamin D, B12, or iron can disrupt that signaling, creating this lag right when you need clarity the most. Similarly, undiagnosed thyroid dysfunction can limit the energy available for executive function. If the power supply is unstable and the signal is noisy, no amount of willpower, discipline, motivation, drive can force this focus that you want so badly. There's another layer here that often gets missed. When the gut is inflamed or dysregulated, inflammatory markers travel through the bloodstream and signal the brain's immune cells. These cells are designed for maintenance, but under chronic inflammation, they shift into a defensive mode. The result is your brain now prioritizes protection over peak performance, over flow state, over executive processing. So now you get slower focus or lack of focus completely. Your decision making feels heavier, feels harder, and there's very little mental flexibility for you to maneuver around everything you need to do on a daily basis. So if your fog is constant and state dependent, you need to do blood work and see what is going on inside your body. So that is our first category. Second category, your lifestyle load. So if your biology checks out, but you're still hitting a wall by 2 p.m., 3 p.m., then we need to look at your lifestyle load. So Huberman actually defines this as dopamine management issue, is a mismatch between stimulation and recovery. And the most common culprit of this is your first light digital spike. This is when you check your phone the moment you wake up. You trigger an artificial high velocity dopamine spike. So now you've flooded your receptors with reward signaling before you've even stepped out of bed, you've even sat up straight. Your system responds by compensating. Now, by mid-morning, your reward chemistry is already depleted. You feel sluggish, unmotivated, foggy, If you don't have that early morning light exposure, your circadian rhythm lacks a clear signal and your cortisol doesn't peak when it should. A lot of people start loading up caffeine first thing in the morning, right when they get out of bed. Now that postpones a problem, but it doesn't solve the problem. What you get is a day spent chasing a baseline that was actually destroyed first thing in the morning. Now there's a third category here, and this is actually where most high achievers eventually end up. These are the high achievers who are doing everything they've researched or heard on performance podcasts, read on social media, different research articles. They have their nutrition down, their supplements dialed in, they do their cold plunges, their red light therapy, you name it. But their brain fog still shows up. The brain fog is situational for these people. It shows up during high-stake decisions, difficult conversations, and during moments of growth or visibility. So if that is you, your biology and your habits or lifestyle, if you want to call it, is not the whole story. It might contribute to this category, but is a combination of three. So in our next episode, we'll go deeper into what actually happens inside the nervous system under chronic pressure and how we can support the return of your clarity in a way that it actually lasts for you. Before we close off this episode, I just want to note that as you've been listening, you've probably recognized yourself in what we talked about today. Awareness itself is already a signal of safety to your nervous system. We do have a reset coming up. It's the 14-day inner OS reset, begins on February 2nd. It's designed to help your system experience what regulated clarity actually feels like. So the intention here is to remove the internal leakage that's quietly sucking out your energy, pulling your energy away from your focus and your decision making. Over the 2 weeks, the 14 days of the reset will work with your nervous system, your biology, and your internal rhythms of the body. So clarity and focus come back and you can see how it feels inside the body. If you're listening to this after the February reset has already started, you can still begin and move through the reset on your own at your own pace. The link is in the show notes. Again, the reset starts on February 2nd. You can find the details and join at the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here. If this episode resonated, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's been carrying too much for too long. And if you're ready to rebuild your internal operating system, join me in the Wealthy Life community or explore my private coaching at deannawrose.com. Until next time, take a breath, trust your body, and stay curious. Let's build your wealthy life.